let's talk about breakups and no contact. Because nowadays, what I see is that there is an epidemic of situationships in which often there's a couple. They often get themselves in a limbo situation where they don't know if they should be together or they should break up. And then there is often many situations in which there is an on and off cycle of relationships where you are back together, but then you break up again and then go back together and then break up again. And some people might say that, oh, if you are not really able to work things out together, if you are not really meant to be, why are you trying so hard to force it to come back together over and over again? Well, if only human relationships are that simple, then everything would be much easier. However, humans are complex, and then there are many reasons why a couple might really get into this kind of dynamic over and over again. For example, in my case, there were two relationships in my past where I actually ended up in this kind of on and off dynamics for a while. And I can tell you, it's not really about the lack of feelings that we had for each other, but actually, there were lots of internal and external factors of the relationships that were actually influencing and impacting the relationship, making it really difficult for us to really sort things out together and understand if we should really, if we could stay together or if it would be really better to break up. And for example, one of my relationships at the beginning when we met each other, it was really, we had this connection that we felt connected emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically. And we, at the beginning, we even talked about, oh, marriage, future, all those things. And I could tell that he was also really genuine with his feelings and with his intentions. However, what happened in our relationship was that when we get closer and closer, actually our baggages from our past relationship, from childhood, the traumas, insecurities, all those are starting to surface. And it was starting to really clash with each other's baggages. So it got to a point that it was really intense and difficult for us to handle. And because we didn't know how to handle things, then we were often breaking up and then, okay, coming back together. But then we broke up and we didn't exactly came back together sometimes, as in, like, we kept contact because we actually cared a lot for each other. But then we were in this limbo situation of, oh, are we more than friends? Are we back to boyfriend, girlfriends again? And then, all these kind of things until it got on and off until we had a final breakup. And then we really just went on separate ways. And well, that relationship actually taught me a lot, and we really cared for each other. However, we really didn't have the tools back then to know how to navigate through our traumas and through our traumas together. So, you see, we might get into these on and off cycles of relationships and breakup, makeup, etc. because we are just humans that even though we might love each other, even though we do have genuine intentions of desires to be with each other as human beings, as lovers, we might sometimes not really have the capacity or understanding on how to do it without really hurting each other and creating this situation that is not really sustainable. So, what I learned eventually, why is the no contact technique, framework, whatever you call it, so important, especially for women, is that it actually helps to take away a certain level of anxiety and to actually help having things clearer for actually both of us. So, what happens is that when we break up with someone, it's because certain things are really, we don't know how to work on it anymore. But then when a couple actually still have feelings for each other, because it's not a switch often, we might often still have feelings for each other. But let's say that, for example, a man feels that, oh, it's too overwhelming, I cannot really be here. But then the woman is so stressed and anxious and all. So what happens in this case that if they break up and they maintain contact, then they would still, for example, they call each other often from time to time and they talk over the phone, video calls, etc. Then because the feelings are still here, then there is no clarity and then there is more confusion, especially for the woman. For the woman, she might start to think, oh, what are we? Like, are we together? Are we not together? What can I expect? And usually women have this tendency to think more about this than men, because for men, maybe they are more in this, oh, she's still around and it's okay. It's not all lost. But for women, we have this tendency to, wonder then what exactly are we right now? What are we doing? Is he still with me or not with me? And all. And all these confusions are actually not so good for the woman, especially. So, why is it so powerful for a woman to implement no contact? Is because first you avoid this limbo situation in which you are confused, right? Like, is there, like, are we back together or are we actually now not not exactly as friends, but not a couple, right? So first you avoid this kind of situation, and then second, this is very important. Like how the female brain works is that when the female brain goes through a breakup, because, when you're in a relationship with a man, your brain is often releasing oxytocin, which is the hormone for bonding. So when you interact with him, like hugs, intimacy, talking with each other, having his support, etc., etc., all this is keeping you attached. And when you are flooded with oxytocin, what happens is that you cannot really see things for how they are. Because, it's human, it's like biological evolution, is that if it is, if you see red flags, for example, very easily, and you see flaws that you don't like, and you don't feel attached to a person, then it's so easy for human women to just, disconnect from a man and then that's it. But then it is not really serving the propagation of the human species, right? So your brain actually keeps you bonded and keeps you more in a more forgiving state of the man. Like you would be more willing to overlook the flaws and all the red flags, etc. But when you are in a strict no contact situation, your brain, it takes, I think that the research says 3 or 4 months for your brain to actually flush out the attachment that you have with him by your brain chemicals. And then the more the time passes in the no contact, the clearer you actually see the situation for what it is. So it's not uncommon for many women to actually look at the relationship like, why did I stay so long in this situation? He is actually not even treating me in a certain way, or maybe he treats me, maybe he loves me, but he simply cannot step up. And these were the signs that were very clear, actually, and that I couldn't see. So, no contact actually is very helpful for women because you avoid the limbo situation, the confusion, and then your brain is detoxing from all the brain chemicals that keeps you blindfolded and attached to the man. So, on the other hand, it also helps you to, when you don't contact the man, you actually let him have this time of processing, because what happens in the male brain is different. You see, while the female brain, we want to fix the situation and harmonize and reconnect, etc., so that we feel safe and relaxed. For the male brain, usually after, for example, a conflict or a very difficult phase, they will feel relief, like, oh, I'm finally out here. Now I'm free again. Now I don't have to face this overwhelming situation. And even if they really care for you, they will feel this relief, like, oh, now I don't feel overwhelmed. Like, at least they might feel a certain level of relief. And then when they are finally calming down, because when they are in conflict, especially, the male brain often arouses them to be in a competitive state. So they are actually in their ego, they're in their mind. While women, they can be in their heart and want to connect, want to bring back this harmony between each other. A man, usually when they are in a conflict, in a fight, they are in their ego. And with their ego, if you go to them and you want to harmonize things, then forget about it, because you are really triggering him further to want to go away or be competitive and, continue with the arguing, with the bumping heads. So it's very important for many men. Yeah, and I'm saying many men because, there are men who can be more mature and who knows how to handle conflicts properly. But when a man doesn't really know how to handle conflicts, and if they feel so overwhelmed, they usually need some time to calm down and then to think things through. Because when they calm down, they are okay. Now there's less anger, there's less competitiveness that is aroused, there is less adrenaline, all those things. And now he has time to breathe, he has time to think in his own man cave. And then he starts to think about the situation. And then he starts to, gradually, then many men, what they also do before this phase, they also try to find things to distract themselves, like to not think about the relationship, the breakup, etc., etc. But then when they calm down, when they are finally by themselves and calmer and etc., then they will eventually notice that you are awake. And now, usually two things can happen. Like, if he never really had much connection with you, then he might, okay, now I'm finally free and I'm going on my own way. But if he really had a genuine connection with you, and if he felt that he really missed you, then this will be the moment that all these feelings of your absence will come up. And then because you're not coming at him anymore, now he gets to have this freedom of choice. Like, okay, do I actually want to fix this situation and harmonize things and get back together, or at least talk about things, etc.? Because, the more you chase a man, the more he actually feels forced to give a response. And, men, they usually don't like to feel forced. So when you allow them to come to you instead of you going to them, it usually works better, because now they have all this space to process in their own pace. And they also have the space to actually feel your absence and actually reflect, like, does this relationship really mean a lot to me? Do I really want her back? Do I really miss her? And can I really make it work? Because, they might also think that even if I miss her a lot, then if I go back to her, can I really give her what she needs? For example, if a woman wants a higher commitment, a serious commitment, can I really give her what she needs? Can I really feel confident that this might work out better? But of course, when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about a man who actually cares also for the woman. And of course, there are men who might still go back to a woman because they are lonely and then they just want someone next to them. Because there are some men who are actually addicted to needing someone accompany, even if it's codependency. Yeah, but when a man has this space and they have their own choice, it's easier for them to come back. So when you doing a no contact, you avoid contacting them and taking the initiative, you're actually giving them the space to process and then decide to come back to you or not. And as a woman, when you go to them, I can tell you that for many women, they subconsciously feel that something is actually missing, that even if they get back together, they might actually feel that, okay, is he actually wanting to get back together because he wants it or because I went after him? But when he is the one taking initiative, then you know that you can really feel safer and feel that, okay, it's because he truly wanted to be with me again and try to fix things. And that's why he comes back. So by him taking initiative and by you letting him take initiative, you allow this to actually happen and to confirm to your heart that no, it is actually him who really wanted to be together after all. So that's why he came back. So there are many advantages for women as to why no contact can be a very powerful tool after a breakup. And also, when I went through the breakups and mix-up in that relationship that I talked about, and we went there not because of the lack of feelings, but because there were so much trauma, so much insecurity, so much relationship baggages that were just clashing with each other as we got more and more intimate. Then I realized that, okay, I really don't want to be with someone who might be unsure if they can or if they want to be with me or not. So I actually decided that this rule for myself is that, okay, if we break up, I will never really chase because of the reasons I stated, and also because I really want to be with someone who is like has certainty that they want to be with me, they want to come back to me. So this was another rule that I came. It's like I really want someone that comes back because he knows that he wants me and not because I have to maybe convince him, maybe go after him, ask him, etc., etc. So if you find this useful, I have a breakup and no contact course where I go deeper about these kind of things and about why we might be in this on and off cycle and how to break from this cycle and how, for example, you might have a higher commitment if you desire. And if he comes back, like how should you handle a situation, on and off situation, so that you break this cycle and you can potentially have a more committed relationship with each other where it is more sustainable. And my name is Monica. I am the teacher of Blooming Feminine Academy. Welcome to my channel, and I hope that this content really helps you to go through the breakup situations and how to implement no contact more efficiently.